Hi everyone, Asaki here. Today I will introduce you to Water by the Spoonful by Chiara Allegria Hudis. Before I start, I want to make sure y'all know about the digital live performance we'll be doing this Friday, November 20th at 7 o'clock. We will be reading this play. And as you can see on this post, we have pretty exciting lineup. So please join us at 7 o'clock on November 20th. Go to our Facebook page and we'll be live on there. And we will have a brief talk back after the show. So let's start. How to confront the past so you can move forward. It's funny how human emotion work that if you don't confront your past, you cannot move on for your future. Like we're made to be like that. In Water by the Spoonful, every character we see has their dark past that they have to confront in order to move on. They're all struggling with their demons, whether it's an addiction, or the dysfunctional relationship with their family or loved ones. This play is filled with people who are struggling with their demon and they cannot shake off. Let me introduce you to the characters we see on stage, because unlike Hold These Truths, which was a solo play, we have 7 characters in this play. So the first one we encounter is Elliot and Yasmin. They're cousins. They're in their 20s and they're born and raised in Philadelphia. Elliot is a veteran who just came back from the war in Iraq. And right now he's working at a subway on Philadelphia Main Line, which is a neighborhood right outside of the downtown Philadelphia where mostly wealthy white people live. Elliot doesn't live there. He lives in North Philadelphia, which is a little bit more tougher, greedier neighborhood in Philadelphia. Yasmin, who is his cousin, she is a adjunct professor of music at the Swarthmore College. Elliot is raised by his aunt, Eugenia, who they call lovingly Mama Jeannie, because his biological mother, Odessa, is a recovering addict and couldn't raise him properly, so his aunt took him over and raised him since when he was pretty young. So this is one of the dark past that Elliot has to deal with. Another dark past that still haunts Elliot is a ghost. This is another character we see on stage. This ghost follows Elliot around and speaks to him in Arabic, which Elliot doesn't understand what he's saying. But this is not a real thing since it's a ghost. It's his hallucination, just so you know. Odessa is also known as a haiku mom. In the chat room she created for addicts like her and their supporters. And in this chat room, we meet a few characters also. One of them is called Shooting Ladders, whose real name is Clayton. He's an IRS worker in California. Orangutan is another participant in this chat room. She lives in Hokkaido, Japan, which is like a northern island in Japan. Really, really cool place. And she teaches English there. Those two are like buddies through this chat. They never met physically, but they know each other through the chat room and always trying to raise a hell for Haiku Mom, and she has to constantly censor them. It's a really funny, comical scenes going on. First thing we see them in this chat room is when Orangutan log on to this chat room and say, hey, celebrate my ongoing sobriety for almost 3 months. Another character in this chat room is Fountainhead. His real name is John. He is a wealthy businessman who lives in Philadelphia Mainline with wife and kids and using cocaine behind their back. One great thing about the display, as you have noticed, I say so many times Philadelphia, which this Bow Street Theater is located at. Especially for people who lives in Philadelphia, if you read the play, you can see how specific Hudis goes about the locations where they live, where they meet, and this makes these people feel alive in your real life. It feels like you know them. Hudis is a native of Philadelphia. She was born and raised here. And I have to mention, it seems like Philadelphia have gotten a new wave of reputation this past couple weeks because of the recent event around politics, and along with our crazy orange mascot Greedy, which is a mascot of the Philadelphia Flyers. I have been loving all those memes about Philly and Greedy. It's giving me so much joy. Anywho, back to the play. Sometimes you read a play, and if you're a local, you know if this playwright actually knows this city or region or geography. Hughes knows that what kind of people live in North Philly or a Philly mainline, and those characteristics are being used so well in this play. The characters in this play are also very racially diverse. Elliot, Yasmin, and Odessa are Puerto Rican, which we have a huge population here in Philadelphia. Clayton is Black. Orangutan is Japanese American. And Fountainhead is, as I said, is white. A ghost is Middle Eastern. So for those who don't know Philadelphia, this city is very diverse, but unlike some of the cities, we're unofficially very segregated. Um, and that's how it's connected to the specificity of the certain neighborhoods and what kind of people who live there and how they behave, how they talk, what kind of place they go to. So that makes this people in this place so real. I think that's the reason why so many people connect with this play in so many ways. One of the biggest themes that stood out for me personally was how people struggle to form a close, intimate relationship with one another. For example, the relationship between Elliot and Odessa, their relationship since Elliot was a little kid has been marked by a series of trauma because of Odessa's addiction. There is a scene in the middle of the play where he explained how their relationship got tainted and why Elliot ended up being raised by his aunt, Mama Jeannie. And this past is still haunting them, and they just cannot figure out how to move on from there. As much as Elliot loves Jeannie, he calls her his mom and like recognize and appreciate every single thing she's done to him and the people in the neighborhood. He still craves for this meaningful relationship with his biological mom, Odessa. And this frustration, on top of his trauma from being a war veteran, really set him back emotionally from moving on to having a better life for himself. Another big topic, as you can see, is addiction. As I mentioned earlier, there are 4 people in this play who are a recovery addict. Shooting Ladders, Odessa, Hike Mom, Orangutan, and Fountainhead. We often hear addiction doesn't discriminate, and they're all from a different racial group or a social status or educational background or occupation, right? I love how these people become a chosen family through this chat room, and they start to looking out for each other because their relationship to their biological family, all of them, is shattered or about to be shattered. And it's an interesting contrast to see, especially for Odessa, her relationship with Elliot, how she behaved toward him and around him is completely different from how she behaved in the chat room or to the people in the chat room. And this is a great stark contrast to see in the performance, like I said, this Friday, November 20th at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. So some of the fun facts about this play. One, What About the Spoonful is a second play in the trilogy. The first one is called Elliot, a Soldier's Fugue, and the last one is called The Happiest Song Plays Last. So as you can see, because Water by the Spoonful, there is Yasmin who talks about jazz, and Joan Coltrane in one of her monologues. There's a theme going on throughout those three plays with music. Hughes said in the interview that some of those characters were inspired by her real life family member. And this play received the Pulitzer Prize of Drama in 2012. And if you have been in theater school or theater drama classes since, say, 2015, you might have been assigned to read this play. I am one of them. I just read this play like a year and a half ago in one of my classes. And the reason why we chose to introduce and read this play is this play is massively popular among the Power Streeters. And one of the reasons we wanted to do this programming is because Power Streeters wanted to have a creative fun. And also, the theme of the play I felt is very relevant to the current society in right now. Today is November, I believe, 12th of 2020. We are all collectively going through a grief because of COVID. Some of us cannot see the family member or lost family members or close relationship, friends, colleagues, and also the political upheaval, is that a right word? Causing a lot of anxiety, and the feeling of grief is something we are collectively experiencing. After reading this play, I felt like I just breathed in a fresh breath of air, which was really, really nice. So, as I always say, go get this play and read before you do that. Actually, come see our performance this Friday, and then go get the play from your local bookstores. Luckily, this play, since this is a really famous play, it's really easy to get one. I'm gonna leave a link of this page on the Oprah website. They created a list of 125 Black-owned bookstores in America. Wow. And they have a list state by state, and it features one of the bookstores here in Philadelphia, Harriet's, in Germantown. And I just checked it right before I started recording it. They do have Water by the Spoonful, and they also have awesome merchandise. And I just want to show you. Hold on. So yeah, this is yeah. This is Well Read John. If you don't know the term John, just look it up. You'll know what I mean. It's a Philly saying. So yeah, awesome play and an awesome march from a Black-owned bookstore. Sounds like a great holiday gift idea. So I am going to read a part of the play as usual. So this is a scene where Elliot and Yaz says the eulogy for Mama Jeannie, and the footnote says this eulogy is inspired by and owes much debt to Roger Zepernick's eulogy to Eugenia Burgos. So I just wanted to mention that. There's a lot of other characters talking in between this eulogy, so I'm just gonna skip and go. So this is not the whole thing, but I wanted to make sure I'm gonna get the ones I really loved. So this is Yaz and Elliot saying like line by line. It is time to honor a woman who built her community with a hammer and nails, a woman who knew her nation's history, its African roots, European roots, indigenous roots, a woman who refused to be enslaved but lived to serve, a carpenter, a nurse, a comedian, a cook, Eugenia Ortiz, Mama Jeannie. And they go on the numbers of things she has done, a number of people who she saved throughout her life, and then says, all while having a fresh pot of rice and beans on the stove every night for a many hungry stranger. And pilgrims stopped and then planned routes because she was here. We were living. We are the living, breathing proof. Elliot is the standing, walking testimony to a life. She was here. So, what a wonderful way to be remembered. How many things you have done to help people, how many things you have done to save lives. I also a huge fan of the musical Rent, and the entire time I was reading this section, the Seasons of Love was playing my head. How do you measure your life? Measure your life with the things you have done for the betterment of the people. So, with that note, I will see you this Friday at 7 o'clock on our Facebook page. Yeah, all right. See ya. So 7 o'clock Eastern time. I'm sorry, my cat is running around. Opera, opera. It's so hard to distinguish between the musical opera and the person opera. One of the biggest themes. Let me drink water. I always carry this around. Try to drink. It's like 100 milliliters. No, 1,000 milliliters a bottle. Try to do 2 a day. Stay hydrated, everyone.